filling in for Jerry Powell. He's on vacation, so I'm really excited to talk to you guys a little bit this morning about some very important things on this Facebook Live. So, happy holidays to everybody. Rythmia is open 51 weeks of the year. We're closed for 1 week in December for the holidays, but other than that, we have usually a really great group of people every week, almost packed every week. It's going really well, and we're excited to meet all these different people from all over the world. And what's interesting about Rhythmia is that the reason why we are so successful and the reason why we have a program called the Rhythmia Way, and we have these really very amazing intentions that we teach people. The reason why our program works is because this was something that was inspired through Jerry, through his own experiences in his life of trying to heal himself. Because, I met Jerry, wow, let's see, how many years ago? It was about 17, 18 years ago. And I was running a drug and alcohol rehab in Malibu. And I was running this place, and it was, like any rehab, it has kind of a low success rate, like any place does. And he came in as a client and he was really desperate to change, but he had no idea how. And we used all of the tools that we had therapeutically for Jerry inpatient for 2 months. I worked with him myself for 2 months inpatient, and then after he got out, he continued to work with me for 5 years in my practice. And during that 5-year period, we tried everything to help him feel better, to feel that he was a good person, to try to resolve issues with his family, and none of it seemed to work. And Jerry continued to be depressed, and he got really sad about everything, and he felt like he just couldn't do it. He couldn't stay sober, he couldn't be happy. And Jerry really worked very hard, trying to get to a place where he could be happy and calm, and it never quite happened. And I was getting frustrated, he was getting frustrated. He just got to this point where, he'd spent a lot of money on treatment and none of it was working. And so he decided, he's like, "You know what? My life is not worth living. I'm miserable. I've tried everything, none of it works. I don't know what to do." And so I said, "Okay, why don't you just take a deep breath? Why don't you try to relax? And why don't you go on a break? Just go take a vacation, go do something, get away from all this therapy and all this sort of thinking about it all the time. Just go on a vacation." And he agreed, and he did. And on that vacation, he got a message from a woman who he had met briefly through passages, and she was a shaman. And we didn't really know, Jerry didn't really know what that meant to be a shaman, but there's this lady who had sort of alternative strategies on helping people. And she told Jerry that, you know, she had seen people just like him get past these issues and become happy. And he just kind of didn't believe it because he had heard everything and done everything and tried everything multiple times. And she challenged him to try plant medicine down in Costa Rica. And so Jerry's a very proactive person, and he thought, "All right, well, this is a challenge. This is something new. I haven't heard about it before, so I'll go do it." So Jerry went down to Costa Rica, and he had, I'm sure a lot of you have heard, this life-changing experience with plant medicine, and he turned his life around and very quickly. Now, I didn't know anything about this. Like, I was just back in Los Angeles, kind of like waiting on him and see how he does when he comes back. I didn't even know what he was really doing. He comes back, and I go visit him, and I hadn't seen him in a while because he had been on a vacation for a bit. Then he was in Costa Rica for about, a week. And I was expecting the same old Jer that I'd seen for the last, 5, 6 years. And he was totally different. He had completely changed. And I didn't understand it. I was confused. Like, how did this happen? And he explained to me that through the plant medicine, he got out of his own way and he saw why he was so upset at himself, why he hated the world, why he hated people, why he was just miserable, why he had a drug and alcohol problem. All the things made sense to him because he moved away from the obsessive sort of compulsive behaviors that he was living in, and he stepped out of that, and he was able to really focus on himself in a totally different way. And so I was intrigued by this. I was also very skeptical, but I decided with him to go down to Costa Rica and try it myself and see like what all this hype was, because I had become frustrated in my career because I've been working with a lot of people like Jerry. He was probably one of the most severe I've ever dealt with, but I've been working with lots of people that, were on meds for a very long time and nothing was changing. And, we were just trying to stabilize people in the healthcare system I was in. I was working in a psychiatric hospital. I was doing rounds through there. I was running a rehab. I was consulting with different hospital based care, just doing a lot of different stuff in healthcare and mental health, and I wasn't seeing the results I was hoping for. So I was open to having something new, possibly as a tool, but I was very skeptical. I was also very nervous because I'd never done anything like that before. But I went down to Costa Rica with Jerry, and it completely changed my life as well. I didn't know that I had all these things I was holding on to and all these strategies that I had built up over my lifetime that were actually hindering my ability to really thrive. And so was able to work on those things and see those things for myself. And so after my experience, Jerry said, we need to have a place that is really safe and medically supervised and has a program that the plants dictate how this goes. Because Jerry said during his ceremonies, he got inspired and he got what we call a download, which is information that comes to you when you're tapped in to it, whether it's the collective consciousness, whether it's the plant medicine itself talking to you, whether it's a spiritual sort of experience. It's probably all of those things combined. And it showed him how to do a program called the Rhythmia Way. And it involves plant medicine, it involves hydrocolonic cleanses, it involves meditation, it involves yoga, it involves super healthy sort of this dieta food that's really in line with the plant medicine. And that we were supposed to buy a resort in Costa Rica and convert it into our life advancement center and to create a healing environment for people that were struggling in their lives for different things. So sometimes people think, well, Rhythmia is an ayahuasca program, and it's not. Rhythmia is a life advancement center. We have 36 modalities during the week that people participate in. And all of these modalities were inspired by Jerry's own experience. And what I would do if Jerry said, okay, well, I think we should have, the medicine is downloading to me that we need to have 4 ayahuasca sessions during the week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So then I would have a plant medicine experience and then I would confirm those things. And so I would back up his decisions based on his downloads and we would kind of cross reference each other. And so over 2 years of doing this, we finally locked in to the program that we have, and we fine tuned it along the way as well because we collect data at Rhythmia. The data is who attends what's the success rate, did people get their miracle? And what we refer to the miracle, and you'll see it a lot on our website, see it on our social media. The miracle is having a soul merger. The miracle is achieving the 3 intentions that were downloaded to Jerry through the plant medicine, which are show me who I've become, merge me back with my soul at all costs, and heal my heart. Those are the 3 intentions that you work on when you come to Rhythmia. A lot of people have their own intentions, and that's great. But when you do those 3 sort of broad overview intentions, all of your own intentions become realized. So this is not a program that Jerry and I are, oh, we're these geniuses and we're the best in the world because we're so smart. It's not about that. We are regular people. Jerry always says he's just a regular guy that had the ability to buy a resort because of his economic success in his life in the past. And I'm a guy who's just, hey, just a doctorate level psychology trained person who has a master's in public health. I'm nothing special. There's nothing special about me or him. We're not gurus. We're not geniuses. We are just open to the process of receiving this information and we can put it into practice. And so Everything at Rhythmia is guided by the plant medicine experience that Jerry has and that I confirm and back up afterward. And so it's just a very powerful process, and all the alumni that come to Rhythmia will vouch for this, that it's something that's very personal to each individual, that you have your own relationship with the experience, that it's not an ayahuasca center, it's a life advancement center that helps you achieve these 3 intentions. Now, the reason why those 3 intentions are so important is because the first one, show me who I've become. We've been living our lives in a way that's dissociated, that's unplugged from our true self. We learned that if we show the world our true self, that we become abandoned or hurt or abused or neglected or just it's not effective. And so, and lots of reasons for that. Usually it stems from childhood. It's between the ages of like 2 and 7 years old. We realize that our authentic self is not really going to cut it. So what we do is we start showing the world something else. Like we start becoming this like really aggressive, sort of do it all person, or we become super shy and reserved and closed off because we don't want to get attention from anybody because that leads to problems, or we become super smart and studious, or we become the class clown, or who knows what. All these different things emerge out of that sort of realization that it's not safe to be our true self. This explains why the cutthroat business person, later in life is really a soft teddy bear inside, but they've lost in tunement with that because of the survival instincts that they had to develop as kids, and it just snowballed. And so that intention is very important because you get to see what you're showing the world that is not you. And then the second intention, merge me back with my soul at all costs. This is super important. This is really where the miracle starts to take shape. That's no longer being dissociated, but plugging back into the true authentic you. And this means that your emotional, spiritual consciousness self comes back and connects with your physical self. And then you're no longer dissociated. Now, that's amazing and super important because you've been numb most of your life. You've been just grinding out behavioral things to survive. And you haven't had the emotional connection that goes along with it. And so this brings the emotional side and you back together. Now, for those people that are hyper vigilant all the time, that's a scary proposition. So Rhythmia has to be a safe environment for you to do this. And so a big part of what I do as a chief medical officer at Rhythmia is I make sure we have a safe environment. That's why we have medical doctors, nurses, paramedics, counselors, coaches, lots of staff, lots of plant medicine staff, lots of holistic team, tons of staff. That's because you need to feel safe. You need to feel that you can become vulnerable in a healthy way, because then you can go deep in your own process. And that's the number one thing that people say about Rhythmia is that I just feel very safe there. And it's really safe. And so when you can connect back with yourself, if you're hypervigilant, you learn that you don't have to be hypervigilant all the time. You can be hypervigilant when you need to be, but you don't need to be 24/7. That's why you have insomnia. That's why you can never relax. That's why people always dump on you their emotions. And that's why you kind of are the healer, the fixer, the do it all for everybody else, but not for you. You've neglected yourself over your lifetime. So this intention gets you plugged back into you. And then the last one, the one that's the best, in my opinion, is healing the heart, or heal my heart. This is where all the pain, all the trauma, all the sadness, everything you've been dealing with in your life becomes healed. Now, it doesn't mean that it goes away in your mind, because you always have the memory of the loss or the pain or the sadness, but the control that it has over your life is gone. There's all these different neurological biochemical processes that are happening, but that's not really the important part of this. The important part is that you follow these 3 intentions, you get your miracle, and then you come out on the other side feeling like a new person, and you're actually your authentic you. It's the true self. And then we have an aftercare plan. It's a 13-week app, and you download it, it's free, and we give you an access code when you come to Rhythmia, and then you integrate with this app for 13 weeks. And it's a really comprehensive program with group therapy and individual counseling and modules of just different things to do, guided meditation, all kinds of cool stuff. So Rhythmia is a life advancement center. It's a place for you to come and really heal all of the things that you've been dealing with and just get back to you. We've all developed coping mechanisms that have allowed us to survive, but are not beneficial. They're things that continue to keep us unplugged. And a lot of people struggle in their relationships, and that's because you're guarded and you don't really trust people. And so Rhythmia is a place where you can really get that under control, and you can figure out why you do this, and you can really connect and come up with different strategies on how to do it in a better way. So the reason why I love working at Rhythmia is because the pressure is not on me clinically necessarily. It's on me providing the services that have been downloaded to me and Jerry through the plant medicine experience. And so Rhythmia is a place where you come to heal yourself. And we have a very set up, very regimented program that if you just plug yourself into it and follow it exactly, you have a 98.6% chance of getting your miracle. That's the 6-month average data that we collect on the exit surveys from all the self-reported guests that mark this on the survey. We often have weeks of 100% success rate. So this is a very, very successful program. We don't, in healthcare, I'm used to 12% success rate, 6%, 8% in different things of recovery and sobriety, but also just depression, anxiety, trauma, all these things. I'm used to kind of low statistics in the Western model. To get 100% sometimes in these weeks that we have is like just mind blowing. You come in on a Saturday or Sunday, you're really stressed out, you're worried, you're nervous, you never done anything like this before. You're in good hands because that's how everybody else is. And then you go through the week and you have ups and downs, and it's work and it's hard, but it's also rewarding. You have breakthrough moments, and at the end, you're completely shifted into the true, authentic you. It's really amazing to watch this every week for the last 10 years. We've had 20,000 people through our doors. We have a lot of experience in this. And so the pressure, as I was saying, is really off of Jerry and I, because we're just following what the plant medicine download told us to do. And the outcome of this sort of protocol is incredible. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Talk to any alumni that's been to Rhythmia, and they'll tell you, like, this was the week that changed their life. We follow up with people 6 months after it, and we ask them a bunch of questions in an email survey, and that's the data. 92% say that this was the week that changed their life. So, if you feel that you would benefit from something like this, please call our 800 number, book your stay. You have to go through some medical requirements. You have to be off of meds, certain kinds of meds, not all meds, mostly the psychotropic meds for mental health issues like depression and anxiety. Those meds contraindicate with the ayahuasca, but we go over all that on the phone with you with our one of our sales agents. So I just want to reinforce the fact that this is not something that is out in the world common. This is a very unique program. This is tailored by the plant medicine itself to provide the most comprehensive, successful, effective care possible. And look at our website, look at the testimonials. We have an amazing board of directors. That really, to me, it says it all. We have Reverend Michael Beckwith from the Agape Spiritual Center. He's on our board. We have Martin Luther King III. We have Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and all those series of books. We have Kelly Slater, 11-time world champion of surfing. We have Ron White, world famous comedian and just very cool dude. We have tons of amazing people. Iyanla Van Sant, who's also a thought leader and a spiritual leader. And there's a lot of people on this board. I don't want to forget everybody, but there's just this incredible group of people who had their own miracle at Rhythmia. And these are people that have been in that spiritual space for their whole professional lives. They participated in the program themselves, and they went through it, and they experienced their miracle. They were blown away by what happened for them in this protocol. And so that's why it's really cool, because I don't take credit for any of this, and neither does Jerry. We're just following what the plants tell us, that's what we're doing. And it's a really like this amazing experience to be working in this field. And it's something that, is so rewarding to meet all these people from around the world that come every week and just heal themselves. that it really gives life a beautiful purpose. We see families become connected again. We see couples connect again or split if that's the healthy thing to do, but they do it in a way that's really appropriate. We see people that have loss get past the emotional baggage of that, but still, it's a sad thing, but it doesn't rule their lives anymore. They get closure on it. There's all these different things that are happening. The staff at Rhythmia are so amazing. That's a big draw for a lot of the people is the staff because they're so supportive. Costa Rican staff, by the way, are the most loving people I've ever met. They're super cool. They're interested in you. They want to make sure you feel supported in this process. So what I do as a chief medical officer is I don't do any of this work for you. I point you in the right direction and I provide support. That's it. That's what all of us do. So we hope that you can look at our website, check out the details, book yourself a week. This is 1 week. It will get the ball rolling for you. It will heal your heart. It will get you your miracle. And you will know that this program is what Jerry went through. It changed his life and it's changed 20,000 other people's lives since then. And we're just at the beginning. We're going to do another 20,000 soon. That's the goal. And we're hoping that this resonates with those of you that are really on the fence about trying psychedelics or trying something that is outside the box because you guys have tried everything. You've tried therapy, you've tried workshops, you've tried meds, you've tried all kinds of stuff, and some of that stuff is good and some of it helps stabilize you, but it's never really gotten to the core deep issue for various reasons. You're guarded, it's not effective, it doesn't work for you, you don't connect with it, who knows, there's all these different reasons, but this is a program that will lock in to what you need, and it will help you get where you want to go. So thanks for listening. I'm glad I got to talk today and fill in for Jerry. Have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you guys down in Costa Rica at some point soon. Thanks. Pura vida. Let's see where I end this thing. Here we go.